The year is 2012 and the Asus VG278H is released, the very first 144Hz display. The idea of high refresh rate displays is nothing new to PC gaming. However, it actually is new to me. Yes, this is my very first 144Hz display, and I'm here to introduce you to the Pixio PX277, a 144Hz and 1440p display. Oh, and did I mention that it also has AMD FreeSync on board at a price tag of only $400? Yeah, let's get right into that review. Pixio is a new brand on the market, creating budget displays for gamers without compromising on build quality. This monitor comes in at a price tag of $400 as I mentioned, a great price for what this display brings to the table. Inside the box you get a display itself and a monitor stand. You also get an included DisplayPort cable and power brick. I kinda wish that the DisplayPort cable was slightly longer than what was provided, but that's not really a huge gripe and the included cable should suffice most people who aren't cable management freaks like myself. The display itself is 27 inches in size. I noticed that the model I received came with one revision compared to other models that I've seen around the internet. The removal of the bold red and pretty ugly Pixio logo on the monitor bezel. Great move by Pixio. Now for $400, there had to have been some obvious compromises that had to have been made to make the display as affordable as it is. And really, the first obviously glaring one is the stand. I could sense some stability issues from the get-go. It wobbles on even a very solid desk surface, which really prompts me to recommend that you go out and pick up a third-party monitor stand or attach it to a monitor arm using the compatible VESA mount that is included. I would not really trust the stand for long-term use. My solution to that issue was to put the monitor on my monitor stand, which was from Mount King, which I actually did a review of recently. If you hit the eye in the top right corner, you can check that video out. One glaring issue, however, is that the stand that I have only supports displays up to 24 inches, and well, the Pixio display is a 27-inch display. Kind of a gap there, so I had to do some modding per se to make it function, but we'll talk about that later in the video. When mounting the monitor to the stand, I came across a glaring issue. This display does come with VESA mounting support, however, from looking around the display, there is no real way to remove the actual stand from the back of the display, leaving a little nub coming out of the bottom of your monitor. This should be an included feature from Pixio because they already give you a very poor quality stand to begin with, and they should really allow their consumers to make some changes to these compromises that had to have been made on the company front. Second, the VESA mount holes are very shallow, which is kind of an extra gripe because if you are not mounting this to a monitor stand or some other third-party mount, there really isn't any issues, but I had to stack a ton of washers on my thumbscrew mount and try to find the perfect combination to allow the monitor to sit flush with the mount, which is particularly annoying and could be particularly on Mount King, but really Pixio should have some sort of solution, and being that my other three displays that I have had no issues attached to the monitor stand, there really should be some standard when it comes to the mounting depth of the actual rivet for the mount of a VESA compatible monitor. After I got the display on the stand, I decided to put my monitors on the outer edges in a portrait layout, which I'll get into in another video shortly on the channel, but back to the focus on the actual panel at hand. The panel is 144Hz and 1440p as I mentioned, and comes with an advertised response time of 4 milliseconds, which from actually testing it online using a link in the description down below, which you can check out if you want to test your display, it actually has a rate of around 8 milliseconds, which is really common for this type of panel, but isn't a huge issue. The panel itself is solid. There were some changes I needed to make to the display itself using the monitor settings on the actual display because it did come a little bit dark and hazy, but with the built-in menu I was easily able to remedy this issue with upping the contrast and changing some of the ratios a little bit to make it look a lot sharper than what it did coming out of the box. As for the aforementioned on-screen display, you get a pretty decent layout and well-organized features that are clearly shown. In the menus when you dive deeper, we do find an option to enable adaptive sync or FreeSync, a feature from AMD that is similar to Nvidia's technology G-Sync. I will leave a link down below to a video explaining the concept of adaptive sync, but I can gladly report back that the display holds up very well to the task, and I can get into more detail later on in another video. So I mentioned that this is my very first 144Hz display. What do I think? Well, to keep it simple, it is fucking awesome. The smoothness that is created by the high refresh rate really adds to the gaming experience and really shows off the power of the PC Master Race, bringing an experience like no others in games like CSGO. Along with being a sharp 144Hz and 1440p display at the exact same time with adaptive sync, makes for a true gaming experience like no other out there. My R9 390 finally gets to stretch its legs a little and play titles at higher resolutions. While I do plan to upgrade to something a little bit better to target that 144 FPS mark, I am pretty much pleased with my overall experience with this card and monitor combo. My conclusions are as follows. For $400, you are getting a high-end display for the fraction of the price, and if you're on the market for a 144Hz display, save money and get this one. Seriously, do not settle for 1080p. Make the step up to 1440p beauty and enjoy what the PC gaming is meant to be, the superior gaming platform, and this having a 144Hz display, which is also 1440p as I mentioned if you didn't hear that before, is highly recommended of me and really delivers the best possible experience that you can have on the market. Well, besides 4K, but we'll get into that in a later video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below and comment what you think. If you want to pick up one of these displays, I will leave a link down below to purchase the display. While you're down there, be sure to follow us on Twitter and hit that subscribe button for more content from the Toasty Bros. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace out.